This is
Be
breather.
there.
And
Listen,
I just have
you're gonna get there and be so wonderful. welcome back to the one and only Swifter podcast.
it is all for real.
It's all for
And
real.
we're telling you just how we feel.
We're gonna tell you how we feel about the Apple Music Top 100 list.
So we got the members of our nation.
The members of our nation. What's up, Swifter
So funny.
Nation?
I was like, actually, like I can just say these like basically word for word, and they make sense.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting. The iCarly theme song has insane lyrics, I think. Like, I don't know. Like, what is she talking about?
It's a bob. So
It gets
we don't care.
it gets the people going. It's provocative.
I guess, yeah. Speaking of provocative, Apple Music release. Are we going straight into it, dude? Or
Let's just go straight into it. No, like all color.
this is the quickest we've ever gone into a subject.
Yeah,
No tangents.
we
No
we
tangents today.
no tangents today. Well, we're kind of we're kind of hyped up about it because we were doing some pre-podcast discussions about it, and we got too riled up. We can't start with the fluff. We gotta get right into it. Damn it.
Okay, so Apple Music put out a very weird list. We're just gonna go through everything that feels relevant and just vibes.
Yeah, just vibes. I think okay, so one of the weirder things for me about this list is that it feels like okay, so they put out this list with like no write-ups, no small paragraphs that I feel like normally you would supply.
Yeah, there usually is, like with like a Rolling Stone or like a Pitchfork.
Which,
But Apple Music just said, "Fuck it, fuck you. Here's our list.
which on
Discuss."
which I think out of the get-go it gives a
Bad taste.
yeah, well, it gives a bad taste in my mouth, and it kind of almost like makes me feel like the intention of this list is all the provocative, like headliney aspects of such a list, without any
It's
even
to
of
create.
without.
It's like it's so intentionally to create buzz because they released it like over the course of a week.
Oh yeah, they did. They just didn't drop
So
it.
and they gave people ample time to discuss everything.
Yeah, there's no critical substance to this list, but it gets the people going, I guess.
And apparently, cultural impact and influence are factored in here. So take that as you will.
Yeah, take that as you will. So we'll be judging the list based off our own
Yes.
feelings. So,
So we start out the gate very. The first five are just insane off the bat. I mean, like the Eagles are good.
uh-huh.
Like I think most people like the Eagles, but how many people would tell you they have a top 100 album of all time?
Yeah, you almost I would okay. Wait, we should actually say with the first five
Yeah,
are.
it's
Uh,
Body Talk by Robin, Hotel California by the Eagles, Astroworld by Travis Scott, Rage Against the Machine, self-titled, and Pure Heroine by Lorde.
Rage Against the Machine is an incredibly valid pick.
Yeah, it actually might be a little low if they're factoring in so many of these like cultural impact and influence and all of those.
Yeah, I think
But
if you have to put an
it's a
Eagles
valid
album,
decision.
if you have to put an Eagles album, I think Hotel California is the pick. I honestly
It would be the album. It's just a strange
my
inclusion.
my my
And sorry, but
my
it's just like the Eagles. The Eagles still have like the highest selling album of all time, or whatever. But like they're just a band from that era. They didn't have like a huge influence.
well the kicker is that the highest selling album of all time. Let me fact check this real quick.
Is it's a greatest
It's the
hits.
greatest hits album. I think
Yeah,
they wouldn't. Nobody would ever do this. I would do this because I'm weird, but nobody would ever do this. But I think that putting the Eagles' greatest hits 1971 to 1979 would be a very justifiable and defensible take. Like, I think you could do it. Obviously, everybody would hate you because there's kind of a stigma against greatest
yeah, you'd
hits.
have to. Yeah, it's just like not a real album.
I,
It's a compilation.
it's a
That's
com-
why it's called a
it's a
compilation.
compilation, but I think it's unique. It's a unique greatest hits album in the history of greatest hits albums, to the point where I think you could put it on a list, and I think it would make sense. But I don't think that's a popular take.
It's provocative. It gets the people going.
It's true. Body Talk by Robin, I think it's a fine take. I feel like it's kind of it's. I don't know if Robin is necessarily the most relevant artist nowadays, but
Yeah,
I think there is an argument. I think in terms of a holdover from like early tens music criticism, in terms of like the kinds of artists that were being hyped up, I think Robin definitely is, important to that extent. I'm curious to see if like even like 10 years from now we're still going to be talking about Body Talk by Robin, because I honestly don't think we
yeah.
even are today.
I just don't think there's much to talk about
Sure.
with Robin. I just think it's very representative of the era and not much else.
Yeah. Astroworld?
Astroworld is like I understand the intentionality behind including it. I just don't think it's a good pick.
I think
I think it's a good album. Just there's no world where it's a top 100 album of all time.
No, I agree with you. And I think even if they were, I think that it's kind of a pick where I feel like, I don't know, like I think there are different trap albums that they could have included, even by Travis Scott. Like I think, I mean, I like Astroworld.
This was just what took him like totally mainstream. I think that was the thought behind it.
I like Astroworld more than Rodeo, but I think putting Rodeo on this list instead probably would have made more sense, and just in terms of like, just culturally speaking, what people value.
I just think it'd be hard to justify including any Travis Scott album on this list.
Sure, I mean,
honestly,
I don't disagree with you. I think, I don't. It's tough to say. I think there has to be a trap album that would be good on this list. I just don't know what it would be.
It's just the question of which would be good enough to put on this list.
Yeah. So to that extent, Astroworld is probably a good enough pick as others. Like I mean at the time, like I don't think it's worse than like Jeffrey by Young Thug, or The Future self-titled, or
yeah, definitely,
or even
not.
like DS.
It's more consistent and more conceptual.
I mean, maybe like Barter 6, maybe, I don't know. Like trap is a weird genre. I think any trap album you put on here, I think is going to just stick out, and I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I honestly think give like another 20 years, I think putting Astroworld by Travis Scott might make more sense, but I just don't think we really know at this point.
Yeah, it's just hard to justify, but that'd be true for most trap albums, I think. So
Yeah, no, totally.
we'd run into the same issue with most.
Yeah,
Rage Against the Machine.
based.
I mean, Rage Against the Machine is good. What else?
I mean that album is like generally a masterpiece. Honestly, it's kind of low, but I don't know. I felt like
I was just saying that.
Yeah, the order. I mean, I feel like it's hard to order this kind of list, but I feel like the order of this album, of this list, just feels genuinely randomized.
We have Pure Heroine by Lords, and I think everybody would agree that Melodrama is the better album.
Yeah.
I just think they included this because it was more influential to pop at the time. I still don't think it's a top 100 album, and that's from like a big Lord fan.
Yeah, I think Lord just I don't know if she has a top 100 of all time album. If you told me that she was
it's very hard to have a top 100 of all time album.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, totally.
But she probably have like a top 100 like personal favorite albums.
Yeah,
Probably.
I
like
think
to my taste, but
I think Melodrama just generally would have been a better pick because I feel like it's just hyped up more. I feel like I don't think it's obviously it wasn't as huge, but who's this? I mean, whatever.
There feels like a very high recency bias.
Like it's like they have a weird. It's like a recency bias, but like a recency bias -5. Right? Like they're not going to give it to
because they're trying to like balance. It feels like they're backloading with the recency bias.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Confessions by Usher is not bad, but it's just a weird inclusion.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I think there are aspects of that record that I think are important, but I think that it's another one where it's a kind.
I mean, you could have put other 2000s R&B albums too.
Sure, Confessions I feel like is such a specific version of 2000s R&B that honestly didn't really extend past it that much. That I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, there are aspects of it that are really good.
Yeah.
It's not really top 100 album material.
Yeah, sure.
And I think Fantana made a good point when he pointed out. So, like, why would you put, like, this, but not an album that, like, actually, or, like, an artist that actually influenced, like, the state of R&B, like, The Weeknd's?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, there's no Weeknd albums.
That doesn't totally surprise me. I think
it doesn't shock me, but I feel like with the choices they've made, they obviously could have gone with one.
Yeah. Which one would you say? Probably the first one, House of Balloons.
That'd be a mixtape, so I think they'd go a trilogy. But actually, they could go with After Hours, because After Hours is, like, very ahead on the wave of, like, 80s nostalgia. Not 80s nostalgia, like, in a negative sense, but,
No, you're right.
The aesthetic revival.
Yeah.
And pulling, like, a lot of, like, it has some of his early, like, some darker vibes from his earlier stuff, but kind of, like, that equilibrium point.
Yeah, I think After Hours wouldn't have. I don't think it would have been worse than any of the some of the other picks that they.
Yeah, I would have put it over some of these picks.
It's probably one of the better. It's probably one of the albums that have like released within like the past 5 years that I feel
has like the best chance to be a classic.
Yeah,
years from now.
No, yeah, surely that's not like what's not on this list. Like Fetch the Bolt Cutters, well, I feel like is going to age very well. Every
Fiona Apple album ages well.
Sure. I mean, I like there's some out there's tons of albums I like that have come out in the past 5 years that I think I like better than After Hours personally, but After Hours I think will show up on these kind of lists in the future.
Eventually, yeah. Are there any 2020s albums? There's 3.
There's 3, yeah.
I'm sorry, I looked at the statistics.
No, I literally just scrolled down to the statistics too.
So you're more of a music person, so I'm not familiar with Burial.
Okay. This is actually a great take. Burial, Untrue by Burial is probably one of the more important step electronic records that have been released. It's genuinely pretty experimental. It was the nature of its making was that he made it in a music program that didn't have beat correction. So it's kind of along the same lines of Jay Dilla in the sense where like the drums are very loose, but in a very it's like electronic kind of recorded music very
Yeah,
sample heavy.
that just reminded me Donuts by Jay Dilla did not make this list either.
That's surprising. You would think they would put it on there.
I don't think Apple Music would.
I mean,
Just from their inclusions here, I don't think like the entire list, I think it makes sense they didn't.
yeah, that's but
Okay,
like
so
generally in terms of music criticism, that's kind of surprising because I feel like that's a very hyped up album.
yeah,
Yeah,
Dilla is like the guy.
yeah. But
Seat at the Table is Solange.
I haven't heard this one.
I haven't heard it either. I can't speak on it.
But I guess
I heard a few songs.
yeah.
Flower Boy by Tyler. I think this is a weird choice because I think there are better Tyler albums, but also I think this one doesn't have top 100 staying power.
I don't know if I fully
I think
agree.
if any album you would put on here from Tyler, I feel like it would have to be Igor, considering everything they're factoring into this list.
I don't know. I think Flower Boy is kind of influential. I would think that I would honestly say that maybe Flower Boy is probably more influential than Igor in terms of like the state of like indie bedroom rap music.
Maybe. I just think including influence in the decision is also a really poor decision.
Sure, it should really just be like quality
Then it's
and
popularity too.
it should really just be like quality plus status. Like how good is it
Yeah.
versus how good do people generally consider it to be?
George Michael, Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1 is a really weird choice.
Yeah, is this like an album that like people like Faith is like the main one people talk about, right?
Yeah, this is the follow up to that album.
I I haven't heard it, so I guess I just don't know what happens on it. But
Yeah, it's just strange.
is this like an album that like people like care about and talk about?
I don't know.
This is the part. This is the okay. I'm not okay. This is the part where I'm going back to the fact that they released this without blurbs. You know, it goes to reason that you're not going to hear about every album they put on this list, but it makes sense to have a little write up in case you've never heard of something that's like, oh, so this is the reason why they put this on this list. But I guess it's
Yeah. So it's not a good sign when the second album under the Legacy tab in Wikipedia says is about its inclusion in the Apple Music list.
oh my god, is that true?
It's true.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Back in Black AC/DC. If you know me, I believe that AC/DC is insanely overrated.
That's a very popular opinion.
AC Seriously, I feel like that's not a popular opinion at all.
It depends on who you're talking to. I guess if you're talking to
I guess it does depend on who you're talking to.
if you're
But
talking,
generally, in the mainstream, most people are fine with AC/DC.
I guess they're fine with it, but I feel like the only people that ride or die for AC/DC are like guys with a receding hairline, a full
Dad rock.
white beard, and are wearing socks and sandals concurrently.
Bad rock, but also like some younger people fuck with it for some reason.
I mean, you can fuck with it. I just don't know if it's a.
Yeah, it's just not me. It's just not for me.
It's not.
So,
I don't. No. I don't. Nobody today is ride or dying for AC/DC. I'm very certain of this.
yeah, it's more of a light like appreciation than anything
Yeah.
for most young people. So
Back in Black is. I feel like is it. I mean, it's a recognizable album. I don't know if it's top 100.
yeah, I think it's pretty overrated just from how popular AC/DC was in its heyday.
Yeah.
Fame Monster, Lady Gaga. I think this is fine.
Yeah.
I don't have much of an issue.
Yeah, the Fame Monster, it makes a lot of sense in terms of like, just like
Yeah, in terms of everything, it makes sense.
yeah,
It's a good album.
yeah.
Nina Simone at 88 is actually a little bit low. I'm not familiar with like her discography, but just it feels like they just had to include. They just had a moment of, oh, we need to include some legends, so let's just fit them somewhere in here.
Yeah, I know. I know. This is not. This is okay. This is a different one than Fantano gave. His 10 for his like 60s 10 out of 10s. He gave it to Nina Simone Sings the Blues. I don't know if I Put a Spell on You is more known than Nina Simone Sings the Blues. I get the I feel like Nina Simone is the type of like jazz artist where countless great records, but it's
Oh yeah,
I don't know if Nina
it's
Simone I don't know if Nina Simone has a signature album. Is my point.
yeah, which might be her downfall in this kind of list.
Sure. But I
Is
mean,
that they don't immediately associate something and go, oh,
yeah.
that one.
I've heard some tracks off this album. So
I've heard some.
I have no question whether or not this out like I Put a Spell on You is good enough to make a top 100 list. I think it's more of a like significance on the individual album front question for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Blue Line's Massive Attack. I'm not super familiar, but it's cool to see a trip hop inclusion.
Doesn't Massive Attack have a different album that I feel like is like the Massive Attack album?
I feel like there might be. This is their debut, though, so maybe it's an influence thing.
I feel like
Mezzanine probably could have been included.
I feel like Mezzanine is the Massive Attack album that I feel like is like the album everyone talks about. It's weird.
Yeah, it is a bit strange.
Yeah.
But, it's at the end of the day, it's just Apple Music doing things.
Yeah, no. For sure.
My Life Mary J. Blige. I haven't heard it, but
I haven't heard it either. I've recognized it.
I would like to.
I recognize it, so it probably deserves to be here.
I think I've heard a track or two.
Yeah.
Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves.
Golden Hour should not be on this list. It's
a good album, but it's not close to a top 100 album.
It's a fine album. It's nowhere close to a top 100 album. It is so far below the bar, in my opinion, that it's kind of I mean, I'm not trying to be a hater, but it's like, why is it here? Just because it...
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It doesn't blow me out of the water, but that's also why it's kind of strange to include it here.
Not every album that incidentally wins Album of the Year at the Grammys is like one of the greatest albums of all time.
Number one greatest album of all time, Midnight's by Taylor Swift.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, cool.
No
influential.
Notes. Yeah, No Notes.
Horses, Patti Smith.
Also No Notes.
Shout out Patti Smith.
Shout out Patti Smith.
You Die Trying. If you know me, you know I think this album is overrated as fuck.
I think this is... I there are definitely people who definitely put Get Rich or Die Trying on the list.
There are people who ride or die for this album, and I am not close to being one of them. I think there are good moments, and I think it's a good album. I just don't think it's anywhere close to being great.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I probably want to put on this list, but I think there are like enough people who ride or die for this album that I think it by my
I mean, it makes sense why it'd be here. I just don't care for it.
Yeah, sure.
Neil Young, cool. No Notes.
No Notes.
Eminem, of course, they had to include an Eminem album.
I mean, sure.
I think Eminem is also very overrated, but it's
It
I
makes
understand
sense.
why he would have to be here if you're including the
Yeah.
things they did.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
NFR.
I, I mean,
I mean, I
kinda.
understand. It's just a little high for me.
It's very high. I don't. I mean,
I
it's
mean, it's not my favorite Lana album. I think it'd have to be Ocean Boulevard, but
well, that's true. But they weren't gonna put
it
in.
it hasn't had enough time to marinate for them to consider it.
Yeah, NFR is good. I mean, it's tough to say because I think Lana's. I don't think that Lana's reputation is set in stone enough for us to like really call this album in terms of like all-time status, and her
Yeah,
reputation that
that's fair.
is defined, I do not think it's defined by NFR. So it's tough to say where it
Yeah,
really lies.
it's honestly it's more defined by Born to Die than
Yeah,
anything,
Born to
but that
Die.
would never be on a top 100 album
Well,
list.
because that album fucking sucks. So I mean, come on, what are we doing here?
You think it sucks? I think it's fine.
It sucks. So
Some people think it's great, and those people are gaslighting themselves.
no, they're definitely gaslighting themselves, but they can think that. I don't care. I mean, honestly,
All right.
Born to Die. Actually, I think if they put Born to Die on this list, I would be upset, but I would begrudgingly understand because like the Get Rich or Die Trying thing stuff. Like there are enough people who ride for that album that I think that
Yeah,
it would make sense.
it's fair.
Yeah.
Um, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Elton John. Shout out Elton John, or maybe not, because I think he was with Kevin Spacey sometime in the past few years. But
Whatever, man. He's old, so
he's old as fuck.
he's not even. He's retired. We know he doesn't exist anymore to us.
He's not retired. He's just been putting out shit songs that are remixes of his older songs.
He's retired from touring at least, so it doesn't matter.
He's retired from making good music.
But Yellow Brick Road is one of them, so we shout out.
Like a Prayer, Madonna. Madonna's overrated.
Madonna's overrated, but sure. I mean, Like a Prayer can get pity.
Fine, whatever.
I would have put Like a Virgin, but whatever.
In Verano's CNT. Bad Bunny. Look, this album is overrated. We all know it.
Yeah,
It's a good album, but it's like I don't know. There's better albums from like any surrounding like artists or actually I lost my train of thought there. I don't know, just it feels like they realized how English focused their list was and sprinted to find like a I hate the classification of like Latin as a genre because that's so stupid.
it's
But
a proper like reggaeton album to some extent. Yeah,
it's like calling like something European music, but
sure.
like whatever. That's not here nor there.
Yeah,
It's I don't know.
yeah,
I think this is a very white jury pick.
yeah. I'm just so curious to
I don't
this.
think reggaeton has enough influence to really warrant having any album make this list.
I mean, it's a big deal.
I don't think there's any. I don't think there's really a great reggaeton album.
Sure, because I think I think that especially the current wave, it speaks to the nature of like its environment and just like how it's streamed and how it's released. I would honestly really be curious to hear the justification for putting this album on the list because honestly,
It's
because
also 76.
it's
They didn't even sneak
76.
this on.
I don't understand what this album does musically, aesthetically, at like any like really at all that would like put it on a top 100 of all time list. It
What were they cooking?
what were they cooking at all?
Super Duper Fly, Missy Elliott, shout out.
Shout out.
Downward Spiral is actually,
Great
it
pick.
feels a little low for how influential it is.
Oh yeah, yeah. It could
And
definitely.
also like how like acclaimed it is.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Steely Dan, sure.
Yeah, this album. No,
Asia.
no, okay, no, not sure. This is one of the greatest albums of all time, and I will not. Asia is so fucking good, and
I just don't think I've ever really gone into Steely Dan, but they have some. I like some of their stuff.
Steely. I love Steely Dan. So, whatever.
SZA, SOS.
So this
Look,
one,
I ride or die for SZA, but this is crazy.
SOS at number 72 is kind of an insane take, but even honestly, I don't think this. Okay, if it was lower on the list,
It hasn't been long enough.
if it was lower on the list, I would be like, sure, fine, okay. But honestly,
It hasn't been long enough.
I don't think it should be on the list at all because SZA quote retweeted Apple Music saying it was disrespectful to put her at only 72, and I'm like, fuck you, SZA. You're above Asia. You're above the Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails, and you're fucking complaining that you're at 72. Fuck off.
Okay, I think that's really funny, and I think every artist should have that much confidence in their own work.
It just pisses me off. I don't understand. Why would it's just
I will never be pissed off at an artist thinking that they're the best, because I think if you don't think you're the best, you're never going to make something great.
maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't know.
Do you have any idea who Kraftwerk is?
Yeah, they're an influential like German electronic band. I think I don't know about this album specifically. I haven't really heard their stuff, but I think them being on this list at all doesn't pop out to me as strange.
This is the part where I nod my head and act like I know it is being said.
Oh, sure.
NWA Straight Outta Compton, sure, I understand.
Yeah.
Master of Puppets, Metallica, cool.
Yeah.
Agree. Good spot.
Yeah.
Is this it? The Strokes?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Kind of
good indie band.
Yeah, good band.
I guess they had to put some indie band here.
Yeah.
Demi Portishead, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, it's kind of a good. There's a good stretch.
Just a good stretch.
Yeah.
The Queen is Dead. The Smiths is kind of low, though. Honestly.
It's good. It's kind of normal, though. I don't think I would put it too high on my own list.
That's fair. I just think they have like a lot of influence.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think they're very representative of that specific sound.
Yeah.
3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul.
Yeah. No, that checks out.
I think it's cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Baduism from Erykah Badu. I think it's weird because a lot of people point to Mama's Gun as her like pretty seminal work. I just like this is another what were they cooking moment.
I'm not fully. I haven't really listened to Erykah Badu, so I can't really say. But
I want to get more into her, but like I'm fairly familiar with like a good bit of her work.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just think it's weird to have this instead of Mama's Gun.
Yeah,
if they're going to choose only one album.
Yeah. Fun fact: my dad knew Erykah Badu in high school. That's true.
I have to act like I'm surprised. Like this is the first time he's ever told me.
I was telling the listeners. I think you knew that.
Audio listeners. Lucas is. Erykah Badu is in voice chat.
That's not her original name, by the way. I think she changed it. Erica Abby Wright is her original name, from Dallas, Texas. Yeah.
God damn it.
Brooker T. Washington High School. It was not called that when she went. It was called Arts Magnet. So, fun fact.
Damn.
Yeah, she was she was like a dance focus, not a music focus.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so she explains why she changed the spelling of her first name. But did she ever explain why she took the name Badu?
I don't know.
Oh wait, no, it says because it's her favorite jazz scat sound.
Well, that's a good reason.
Classic eccentric artist moments.
Yeah, she's kind of a.
It's kind of out there.
All right.
Okay, okay, Jimi Hendrix. Cool.
Okay, are you experienced? I feel like a lot of people would have told you that they should have put Electric Ladyland, but I think Are You Experienced?
Oh yeah, of course.
I think Are You Experienced though is a good take. I think that deserves to be here, so I'm not sad. Not upset.
Okay, All Eyes on Me, Tupac. I think it's a little high, but I understand why it's here.
Yeah.
Love Deluxe Sade. Love the Sade inclusion, but actually it could have been higher. Low key.
Oh yeah.
Velvet Underground is 60 is criminal. That they should never be less than 50 or more than 50, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Velvet Underground and Nico, that album kind of just invented the sound of 90s rock in the 60s. So it's
like it was like incredibly
yeah.
like I don't know. And to put AM by Arctic Monkeys right under it.
Right over it is a
fuck out of here.
Like I said, unserious list with the order. They're just what are they doing?
I think AM by Arctic Monkeys is probably the most overrated indie rock record of the 2010s.
It generally does not be. It doesn't need to be here at all. I mean,
it's just mediocre.
Especially, I mean, okay, are over the Velvet Underground, sure, but over the Strokes. Are we really about to say that Arctic Monkeys are more influential and important than the Strokes? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah,
because that's a lie. If you're trying to say that, you're lying to me.
Like Arctic Monkeys were at their best in the 2000s, if you want to call it the best.
I just don't think.
But like their sound has gotten progressively worse.
Yeah, I just don't think they make the list at all.
No album from them makes this list.
Yeah.
Oasis is a really weird inclusion.
No. I maybe a little high, but I kind of agree that What's the Story More Than Glory.
I was gonna say you have to agree it's at least a little high.
It's a little high, maybe, but it's a little high in terms of like influence because I don't know if it really. It's a great kick-ass record, but I don't know if it really, reaches beyond itself. It is top 100 for me though. I'm not gonna lie.
We have Voodoo from D'Angelo.
Yeah.
Honestly, this could have been higher.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I think. You could have maybe even had multiple D'Angelo albums.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure. Does this have Roy Hargrove on it? Wait, give me one second.
I don't think so. But we'll see if I'm wrong.
It does have Roy Hargrove on it. Yeah. So
I think I'm just stupid.
Well, do you know who Roy Hargrove is?
Oh, do you mean the album?
Yeah, I mean the album. I'm talking about the album.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was confused.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, and Disintegration, The Cure, cool.
Yeah, makes sense.
The Cure is cool, and they're pretty influential.
Yeah, that album I feel like is talked about a lot.
Okay, we're about to order public execution on whoever.
This might get me canceled.
Put Anti from Rihanna here.
Okay. It's not even that. It's not even that it's new. It's not even. Yeah. It's not even that it's uninfluential. I actually just think that this is a bad album.
I like this album, and it should not be touching this list.
No way should be touching this list.
What is even the reasoning for putting this here? Like, no Rihanna album is even touching this list.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure.
I'm just so confused. Just, like, especially this high. What were they thinking?
Yeah.
And the next slap in the face is that A Love Supreme by John Coltrane is the spot underneath this.
Yeah, it's I mean,
For the record, this also could have been higher.
yeah, Love Supreme definitely could be higher. I mean, I think a Love Supreme, it definitely should be higher. You know, I think that 54 is probably fine, but putting it right next to Anti is a little silly.
Yeah. Exile on Main Street from the Rolling Stones.
I think if you have to put a Rolling Stones album on here, I think it's probably that one. I just wouldn't put a Rolling Stones album on here, but I might just be biased.
I mean, I guess if you're looking at like cultural impact and influence, I think you probably have to.
Yeah.
Like Apple Music is doing. I'm not a big Stones head.
Yeah.
I'm not a big stoner.
I'm tough to make too big of a statement because I'm low-key a Stones hater, but I mean they're important. They're fine. They can be on here.
Appetite for Destruction from Guns N' Roses. Look, I don't dislike Guns N' Roses, but this shouldn't be here.
Honest, man, I actually kind of disagree. I don't think it should be this high. But I think Appetite for Destruction.
Definitely not this
high. I do think Appetite for Destruction is a singularly iconic and recognizable and just like long-lasting rock album with a lot of staying power, in my opinion.
I mean, I agree. It has staying power.
Honestly, Guns N' Roses are one of the main are a pillar of rock and roll. Honestly, off the back of this album alone, basically. So
yeah, that's fair. Sign of the Times, Prince, cool.
Yeah.
Hounds of Love, Kate Bush, cool.
Could be higher, honestly. I mean,
it could be. Yeah, I think this is fine though.
Yeah.
Shout out Kate Bush.
Yeah, shout out.
The Joshua Tree, U2. U2 did not even need to be here.
Yeah, I agree. The Joshua Tree.
U2 is insanely overrated.
Kind of a funny inclusion. I honestly, they should have put Apple Music should have put that the album that they put on everyone's iPods for a while. And that would have been good.
Yeah, U2 is like beloved by critics, and nobody understands it.
Yeah, it's while we're talking about U2, the new title for the new Knives Out movie is a U2 song.
It is. It's "Wake Up, Dead Man."
Yeah,
which is a great title.
No, it's a great title. So I mean, U2 not better than Radiohead or the Beatles, but it's a good title. Yeah. It's a good title. So
that's what matters.
Yeah.
Plus Boutique, Beastie Boys.
Absolutely. Cool. Absolutely, man.
Beastie Boys is a conclusion.
Fucking Paul's Boutique, one of the greatest albums of all time. It should be higher, actually. Should be higher. I'll say it.
Take Care from Drake.
I mean, it's
there's no Drake album that makes this list.
There's no Drake album that makes this list, but if you have to put one, there's no Drake album that makes the top 50. And 47 is kind of crazy.
No, 47 is insane.
Yeah.
Where are the dick riders at Apple? Let me castrate them.
Yeah, especially in the middle of the Drake and Kendrick beef, you're gonna be fucking.
Yeah, this was a stupid time to do this.
Absolutely stupid. All right, Apple Music trying to strike a chord.
Actually, funny. It's funny you say in the middle and it's ended.
I'm not sure that it's ended, but I guess we'll see.
I think it's ended.
That's fair.
Bob Marley, Exodus. Shout out Bob Marley.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one, but I'm just going to assume that it's good enough to be here.
Yeah. Homogenic. Bjork is here.
Bjork.
This is the only Bjork album. Yeah, that's the interesting part.
I haven't heard Homogenic, so I don't know if this deserves to be on here versus Vespertine.
Yeah, I haven't either.
You could have put really like any of the three main Bjork albums on here, and it probably would have flown.
Pretty much, yeah.
So there's not really a, yeah.
Uh, Next, Inner Vision, Stevie Wonder. Actually, this is a Stevie album I haven't heard. So
Yeah, I think there's one song I've heard from here. Um, Don't worry about a
there
thing.
might be.
That song is great. Don't you
Yeah,
worry
I
about
just
a thing.
not very familiar with this Stevie album.
I think this is one of his main ones,
Um,
though, so I think it makes sense.
that's fair. It's not the only one,
Yeah.
for the record.
No spoiler
Uh,
alert.
we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Remain in Light, Talking Heads makes sense.
Kind of low. I mean, this is like one of the best albums of the '80s. So
Yeah, it is low, but
yeah,
it makes sense to be here.
yeah. At this point, all the albums are probably going to be pretty good, unless there's like a major like if there's an album that's coming up, I feel like it could be higher. Probably. I don't know.
Yeah. Control from Janet Jackson. It's just weird that they put this instead of Velvet Rope, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It's like the weird, like, why this one?
Yeah, I think I definitely would have liked an explanation on that one versus Velvet
Yeah,
Rope.
but they didn't put any explanation out for anything. So,
No, they didn't.
Aquemini from Outcasts. I think it's a little bit high, but I also think the thing with Outcast is like most people would put like many different like they have so many good albums that people don't have a consensus on what their best is.
Yeah, it's like Atlians, Aquemini, or Stankonia.
It's ATLians, Aquemini, Stankonia, Speaker Box, The Love Below.
Is any okay? No. Is anybody? I'm gonna push back. Is anybody saying that Speaker Box Love Below should be on top 100 album of all time?
Some people have said that, yes.
That's. I mean, I don't know, man. That's fine. That's whatever.
I'm just saying.
That's whatever. I mean, it's fine.
Shout out Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, I don't heard this album. I have a hard time believing that this is better than Christmas with Aretha Franklin, but
Illmatic by Nas is at 39 is actually kind of low considering they're going off of influence too.
yeah, you could have. I mean,
Like I feel like if you're going off influence, Illmatic's like automatic top 20,
oh sure. I mean,
especially with quality.
I mean, looking at the rest of this list, I feel like we're kind of in like arguably top 10 territory for a lot of what makes like the top 40. But
Oh yeah.
it's interesting.
I haven't heard this Carole King record, but I have heard a few songs.
Yeah, this is really recognizable. I haven't heard it either. I think is this the one with You're So Vain?
I think so.
Because that's a good album. That's a good song. It's actually
Wait, it's not.
it's
hang
not
on.
it's not actually.
I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it's not. But Carole King's good.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah.
Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. It's really funny to put this at 37 instead of 36.
They weren't
They
should've-
came so close.
they came so close. They should have put it at 36.
At 36 is Beyonce's self-titled, which, like, it's crazy that Renaissance is not here, but her self-titled is.
Yeah, I haven't heard this album. I get the impression that it's kind of gassed.
I have heard this album, and I think it's very good, but I don't think it's top 100.
Yeah.
I
What
think
do you
I don't even think it's top 3 for her.
Yeah.
London Calling, The Clash. Honestly, it could be higher, but
No, it's yeah.
cool to see it.
Yeah, great.
Public Enemy, cool.
Yeah, checks out.
Kid I haven't heard.
It's yeah, totally. Checks out. Shout out Radiohead.
Ready? There are 2 Radiohead albums, by the way,
Yeah, spoiler alert.
because you know why people love their Radiohead.
Goddamn I do.
But In Rainbows is not on here. Uh,
Uh,
Ready to Die.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, In Rainbows is good. I think it's you're putting two Radiohead albums on the list anyway. I think it's kind of just a given that it's kind of crowded. I think it would have been weird to put all three of them on
Oh,
it.
of course.
I think it's I mean, In Rainbows is like so coveted amongst Radiohead fans, but my hot take is that if you're making a top 100 list of all time and you're including two Radiohead albums, it's not In Rainbows, it's Kid A and OK Computer.
Okay, well, Ready to Die by Biggie is here.
Shout out Biggie.
Shut up, but also controversial take. I think it's should be lower.
I haven't heard it, so I cannot concur, but I'll take your word for that.
I have heard it. I think it's a little bit bloated, and I don't think everything is aged perfectly.
Sure.
I think there are parts that haven't aged well.
That makes sense. That can kind of be said for gangster rap across the board, though, right?
Yeah, I think that's the trouble of that.
Yeah.
Is that it's very influential, but it also has some flaws to it.
Yeah.
Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette. I mean, I really like the album. I just don't think it really warrants this placement.
It's a little high, but
Yeah.
I do think I do think that I do think that some of the criticism against its placement that I saw, honestly, just from like a couple specific people, were kind of honestly they almost made me disagree because they were so dismissive of it. They were like, Jagged Little Pill is a good commercial album, but it's weird to put it over. It's weird to put it over like genuinely influential and important albums. Like Jagged Little Pill is genuinely important and influential. Like I think you don't need to call it a fine commercial album. Like I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, it's very dismissive. It's kind of disgusting, honestly. But
like, and Alanis Morissette is a stellar songwriter. So I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing?
When we all fall asleep, where do we go? Billie Eilish. Another case of I really like this album, but it shouldn't be this high. I'm not even sure it should be here.
I mean, it's tough to say. I do like it. I do feel like it. I think a spot on the list lower would be justifiable.
Yeah, it's just the high placement that kind of puts it in a tough spot.
Yeah, I think if you wait like 20 years, it'll make a lot of sense. I do think it'll age.
Just hasn't been long enough.
Sure, it'll age well, I think.
I think it will too. I think all of her albums will probably age well.
Oh, I think Billie Eilish is definitely going to be one of those artists where they're good. She's good at the time. And then in the future, we'll look back and be like, man, she had a kick-ass discography.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. The Low End Theory, Tribe Called Quest, shout out.
Shout out.
Good placement.
Great placement.
You know they had to put Dark Side of the Moon.
Well, I mean, you gotta. I feel like they kind of put it kind of
That's
low.
Good.
They put it kind of low, but I do think in the top 30 makes sense.
I think it'd probably be around here for me too.
Yeah, I in the past a past list like 10 years ago would have low key put it like number 2.
They probably would have.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin too.
Is this the only Led Zeppelin album that's on this list?
This is the only one.
I don't understand how.
There are only 5 artists with 2 albums.
I think that I like Led Zeppelin 2. I don't know if I'm putting it on this list over Led Zeppelin 1 or Led Zeppelin 4. Like I probably would have put Led Zeppelin 4 in this spot.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, great record though.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. He Who Shall Be Not Be Named.
Yeah.
I think if any of his albums were to be on this list, it'd probably be The College Dropout.
Yeah,
You have to be kidding yourself if you think that My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is more influential or more like standout or like has more of a like I just the more I think about it, the more I like the College Dropout more than this.
No, I think you're right. I think they honestly, I think College Dropout at the 26 spot, just swap it out, and I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's justifiable.
No, it's pretty good.
Kinds of Blue, Miles Davis, cool. I like Miles Davis.
Yeah, I like it. 25 is it feels maybe a good spot. It could have been higher maybe, but
It does. Yeah.
it's so stacked at this point.
Ziggy Stardust from Bowie. Honestly, this would probably be top 25 for me too.
I mean, I don't know if it's top 25.
I think this album is incredible.
I don't know if it's top 25 for me. I feel like I need to revisit it. I listened to it a while back, and I just thought it was...
I do think it's justifiable, though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
Discovery, Daft Punk. Like, I get it, but I don't think I'd have it this high.
I haven't heard this. I know it's probably one of the biggest holes in the stuff I haven't listened to. I do know that there's a lot of people that like are generally like, this is one of the greatest albums of all time. So I think that...
Yeah, I'm not one of those people, but I do get the appeal.
Yeah.
Born to Run from Bruce Springsteen. I think it's a little crazy high, but I do think it's a good album.
Sure. I mean, Springsteen is always just going to be like a little crazy high, but it's kind of the point.
Look, I think this was a good choice to put over Born in the US. What's it called?
Born in the USA.
Was the album called Born in the USA?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Revolver, the Beatles.
Hell yeah, bro. Revolver, fucking greatest album of all time.
There are two Beatles albums.
I think those are... Yeah.
How do you feel about Pet Sounds being right above it?
That's amazing. It kind of makes a lot of sense. Pet Sounds is kind of low, but I also probably would have put them right next to each other. They're compatible in a lot of different ways, just like the way like they came about in like same year. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
The Chronic from Dry. I think this album is very good, but I would not have it here.
I think it has a very fierce like music criticism like hype at the moment.
Sure.
So I think a future list will have it lower, but at the time it's one of those things where
like I got the praise. I just think it's not a perfect album.
Yeah.
Speaking of imperfect albums, there is one Taylor Swift inclusion in this list, and if you haven't been following what's been happening, you would never guess what it is.
Yeah.
It's 1989 Taylor's version specifically.
I think they just put the Taylor's version because they didn't want to feel disrespectful. Like I think they knew they would have gotten a lot of hate if they put the original version. Hot take. Number 18 is insane. But like if 1989 the original version was at like 97, I wouldn't have been upset.
I think if it were in that position, I would have been like, I wouldn't have it here, but it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I think...
Do you have it at 18 here, sandwiched between heavyweights?
No, for sure. It sticks out like a massive sore thumb.
Sore thumb.
But it's unfortunate because I don't think 1989 is a record that needs that amount of gassing, right? Like, I do think there's an argument that, like...
Yeah.
1989 was Taylor's best album for a while before Folklore came out. And I think that speaks to how good it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What's going on, Marvin Gaye? would probably be top 10 for me personally.
It was top one on the last Rolling Stone list.
That makes sense. I think it's a good placement.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I think 17 is honestly low for this album. I think it's incredible.
I think it's incredible. It's probably not my top 10, just like my taste speaking wise,
That's
but
fair.
I think that in the top 20 kind of makes sense. I don't know if I fully agree with it being the number one album of all time, but I don't know if I even fully agree with any album being the number one album of all time. So
Yeah, that's the issue.
I'm not really willing to argue that too much. I mean, it's as good as any other album to be number one or number 17 or whatever.
Yeah. Blue by Joni Mitchell.
Should be higher. Honestly top five. Maybe number one album of all time for me. Low key.
I'm so excited to get into Joni Mitchell now that she is on Spotify again.
Yeah. Shout out Jackie.
It's like I play Spotify DJ and play Big Yellow Taxi for me. And I went to like Discover Weekly. First song was like Joni Mitchell. I was like, they have been waiting to give me Joni Mitchell.
I fucking love Joni Mitchell. Yeah, I mean, Blue is her. I mean, yeah. Not enough has been said about Blue.
21 by Adele at 15.
Crazy too.
Like, I think this album is great, but I don't think it should be this high.
I just
But understand it. If it was in like the 70 to 100 range, I think it'd be fine.
yeah. I just want to see the justification for it being 15th.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
I mean, it was a popular album. It was a liked album. I mean,
Oh yeah, it was like crazy selling.
I do want to say though, I think Adele's like the extent to which Adele is praised and liked is maybe a little disproportionate to like her relative quality amongst history, because I just think she was doing stuff that people were not doing at the time. I do not know if she was actually just like I don't know if she was actually that good.
I think it's the vocalist. She's insane.
Yeah.
I think she has good song choice.
No, I agree.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough.
Bob Dylan,
Great.
obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously is here.
Yeah.
Jay-Z, The Blueprint. I think this is a fantastic album, but I'm not sure I'd have it this high, especially over some of the other rap albums chosen.
Yeah. I mean,
I think this is like either the second or third highest rap album, depending on which you classify.
mhm.
But I don't know. I think it should be here, but I don't think it should be this high.
Sure. I do think it's interesting that Apple Music officially put their input in the Jay-Z versus Nas beef. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, it's actually crazy to put it 26 spots above Illmatic.
I mean, hot take. I think that College Dropout is the album that should go here, because I think the Blueprint is is a lot praised for West's production. But I think West's production.
Actually, Just Blaze is like really present on the Blueprint too.
Well, sure, but I mean, a lot of the more famous tracks like Izzo, HOVA, and like Takeover, and Heart in the City Ain't No Love. I mean, Blaze, sure, but I think West. I mean, Kanye is a prominent sound on the album that I think is probably one of the main reasons that it has like a lot of staying power. And I think Kanye West, his production on College Dropout was even more iconic and better. So I think that
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because he was in his own like environment.
No, totally, yeah.
Okay, Computer, Radiohead. I agree, sure.
Really good spot, because I think it's high enough that it satisfies the Radiohead OK Computer is the greatest
The
album of all time,
Radioheads.
people, but it's also not high enough that the people who would potentially get mad at it being that high would like really care that much, because it's just not quite top 10.
Yeah. Rumors, Fleetwood Mac, cool.
This is the one album where I feel like should have been in the top 10.
I think 11 is fine. I think it's I love Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Great bands.
Yeah.
Lemonade by Beyonce, I think would have been better in like the 60 to 100 range.
No, I completely agree. It's a good. I just don't.
It sticks out a little bit here. Never mind Nirvana, understandable, incredibly influential, incredibly good,
Yeah, incredibly good.
and good. I mean, some people would say maybe it should be higher, but
Yeah.
top 10 is. We're in the top 10 now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, for sure.
Back to Black, Amy Winehouse. Like, I think this is a fantastic album, but I think it's a little high though.
Yeah, I haven't heard it, so I'm not going to comment too much. But
Actually, I will get on your ass for this. That is crazy.
there's tons of shit I haven't listened to. Okay, so get off my back.
How the fuck have you not heard like the defining Amy Winehouse album?
I haven't heard any Amy. It would have been weird if I had heard another Amy Winehouse album rather than no. I haven't heard any Amy Winehouse albums.
That's true. But like,
I mean, I've heard Rehab. I've heard Me and Mr. Jones. I've heard parts of Back to Black. Like I'm familiar with the sound.
wait. How have you only heard parts of Back to Black?
I haven't heard it completely. Like I haven't sat
You're
down
fucking lying.
I haven't sat down and listened to it. Like
You have to have heard it at least like through like osmosis from somewhere else though.
that's what I mean, right? That's what I'm talking about. Like I haven't heard like all of it. Like
Okay, well, any opinion you have on this album is invalid until you listen to it.
well, that's exactly why I said that I haven't listened to it, so I'm not going to comment too much.
Okay, that album of the day tomorrow.
Album of the day tomorrow is Back to Black. What I was gonna say, I think Back to Black is victim to like music critic mythologizing. You know, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
I think the broader story of Amy Winehouse kind of does a lot of the carrying.
I guess a little bit, but also she was just that good.
Yeah, that's true.
That is easier to justify than mythologizing.
Yeah, but I don't think she makes top. I don't think she makes top 10 if the mythology isn't built around it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But to that extent, you could say that about any record in the top 10. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you can say that about Nevermind by Nirvana.
That album is like low-key probably top 10 anyway.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, the legacy
No, you're right.
obviously is influential in how it's viewed.
You're right.
Good Kid, Mad City, No to Pimp a Butterfly.
Which there's really no reason not to put.
There's no justification for that.
They put out like a
pull up the bookmark.
Yeah, they were doing like a video where they were like this woman, she was like, so why No to Pimp a Butterfly? And he was like, he didn't really give a reason. He was really just like laying out like the stock.
He was just like, well, like it's harder to get into or something. It's like you're just talking to talk.
My theory is that they wanted to be quirky. They wanted to be different. And they put Good Kid Mad... we wanted to put Good Kid, Mad City in the top 10. Realizing that you can't put To Pimp a Butterfly under Good Kid, Mad City reasonably. And there's not really that many records you could put over To Pimp a Butterfly. It's better to just leave it off entirely. And, it's what's she going to do about it?
No, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah.
But obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Songs in the Key of Life. Stevie Wonder. I love this. This would actually maybe be top 5 for me.
Hell yeah. Honestly, probably should be top 5.
Honestly, Shout out Stevie Wonder. Fucking love songs in the key of life.
That fucking album is a fucking masterpiece, and it's true.
It's like 20 plus album or 20 plus songs, and it doesn't get old.
It really doesn't.
It's just
it's
so good.
It's like a in terms of double albums, this is like a pillar of the genre. The genre of a double album, I guess. I guess that's a genre.
Yeah. Number 5, Blonde by Frank Ocean.
Maybe not maybe not top 5, but
Yeah, I think it deserves a spot in the top 100. I just don't think it's top 5.
I think it and Lemonade are kind of tough to justify top 10 status for me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Blonde does have the cultural influence by this point, I think. Even this recent, but I don't think it's top 5 all time.
What are other albums that came out in 2016?
I don't know, like fucking Brent Faiyaz or something.
You mentioned Brent Faiyaz more than anybody in my life.
Look, I have a penchant for insulting mid R&B artists.
2016 is kind of a slim picking musically, but I don't know. I mean, Blonde.
Oh, yeah, I did tell you the $1 Million Baby sound songs like Diet Brent Faiyaz, which is crazy because he's not even that good.
Yeah, sure.
Have you heard it by this point?
I haven't heard it yet.
It's like 2.5 minutes.
I just haven't clicked on play. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, when did we have this conversation?
I don't. It was like 2 or 3 days ago.
3 days ago. It was today, maybe.
It was not because I was at work.
Oh, it was yesterday. That's fair. I have no excuse.
Exactly. So top 4, Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution. Cool.
Yeah.
Prince is very cool.
Yeah.
Abbey Road, the Beatles.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd have Abbey Road this high, but I understand it.
I would, but that's understandable from my perspective.
Thriller, Michael Jackson. Like, I can understand this pick.
It's
I think Off the Wall should have been on this list.
top 10.
I think that's Michael's best.
Top 10 is good. Top 5 is good. Top 2 is like just like really like digging into the narrative.
Look, some people think this is the best album of all time. Okay,
I think those people are kind of fucking lying. Like, I mean,
they might be, but like, it's not like this is out of nowhere.
It's not out of nowhere. I just don't like. I just think low key above Abbey Road, above like Purple Rain, even above Songs in the Key of Life. I just don't understand reasonably the argument. But I mean,
this is Apple Music.
That's true. That's fair.
Okay, I think the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is actually a fair pick for number 1.
Yeah.
I can get behind it.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that like number 1 is, I mean, when you're deciding a top, I mean, okay, here my opinion is when you're making a 100 best albums of all time or a 500 best albums of all time, low key the only one that really matters is number 1. And if this whole exercise if this whole list was an exercise in hyping up the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, I think ultimately that's like a fine reason to make it.
Yeah.
Number 1 isn't isn't like, if it was so objective what like the number 1 spot should be, it would be consistent. But the fact that we see like Sergeant Pepper to What's Going On to like Dark Side of the Moon to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, the number one spot is the narrative spot, and the narrative always changes every time somebody does a new list. So I can't really argue no matter what way it goes.
Yeah, it'd be hard to. I mean, it's hard to justify any number one pick, and I think every top 100 list is just automatically arbitrary.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Can we talk about how DJ Academic's name is Livingston Allen?
Wait, what is this? Wait, what?
DJ Academic's name is Livingston Allen.
Oh my god, what a name.
I know. It's so strange. It has the same feeling of like Drake being named Aubrey Graham. Like, it doesn't feel like that's a real person.
Aubrey Graham, at least Aubrey is a name. I didn't know Livingston was a name at all.
I know Livingston was still a name. Let's put it that way.
Bro. Crazy.
Alright, I think we should finish with the Taylor news.
Yeah, we didn't do the Taylor news last time. We're low-key.
Yeah, I was like, damn, we didn't talk about Taylor news.
So Taylor news, okay. She landed at the number 18 spot of Apple Music's top 100. Top 100 of all time.
I have this Gaylor tweet bookmarked.
Oh my god.
Fully serious.
Send it to me.
For Pride Month, is she going to change the Broken Heart lyrics to "and I'm gay and no one even knows," right? Because at the rate she's going, I emoji.
Oh my god. Absolute. The cope is crazy. Absolute cope.
It's insane. By the way, a 29-year-old.
It's rough out here for Taylor. Okay, are we gonna talk about the beef that's apparently happening?
Yeah.
So,
but I was gonna say, people are speculating she's trying to block Billie Eilish from going number one.
That's probably not what's happening.
Because it's probably just her being a capitalist, but she just keeps unveiling new editions, which is it just feels like an Onion article every time.
Yeah, no,
and
for sure.
her fans are getting tired of it, which is crazy.
Yeah, one of the bigger things is that she's releasing different, like, she's releasing new demo versions, acoustic versions, or whatever. But it's like she's releasing 3 different editions of the whole album plus one of the new tracks. Like, just release all the new tracks on one bundle. Don't, release 3 different versions so they have to buy the album 3 times to get all the tracks. I mean...
So she released new digital editions of Torture Postpartment with first draft phone memos of 3 tracks. And then she released new editions of it with live performances of 3 tracks.
Yeah.
They all cost money, by the way.
These aren't fundamentally bad things to include as extra material, but the model that she's going by it feels really cynical to me.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you a tweet. Because this is the last thing I saw that was today. I saw this.
The way she recorded this, thinking she was sweeping the knobs.
Hi. Good morning. I've just been running up and downstairs, moving things around, unpacking boxes, trying not to think about you calling me with Grammy nominations. I know. Well, I'm trying to get the full list because right now, in the big categories of album, record, song, you are not nominated. Oh, okay. It's this is good. This is fine. Yeah, and it's very similar. Everything is like this. You know, it's so weird. I said this is. You know what? This is fine. I just need to make a better record. Well, reputation.
Is that from the Miss Americana documentary?
I don't know, but it was in 2017, I think, or 2018.
Because I think Miss Americana was following her Lover era, which I think wasn't nominated, so that makes a lot of sense. Oh, wait, no.
People are saying this is after Reputation, before Lover.
Oh, that's rough. Well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she eventually did make a better record, and then it stopped mattering.
Anyway, do not free Nicki Minaj.
Do not, yeah. Keep her locked up.
Keep her locked up. Anyway, on that note, I think I think we're good. I think we could even put out another video this week. Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. We really talked the entire time about the list, but it was deserved.
It was deserved. We got to yap, and we'll probably put out a different video that will get more than 2 views.
I never expect any of our vids to get more than 2 views.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. So where can they find you, Lucas?
They could find me at Lucas_copy_1 on x.com. Thank you, Elon.
All right. You can find me at Fiona Appletree with 1A on Twitter.com. Or now it's officially X.com.
Yeah, I think if you still type in Twitter... I think if you still type in Twitter.com, I think you'll get sent to X.com, though. So, it's rough.
Probably, but the domain is officially X.com, I think.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out the only social media website to sound like a porn site.
Can't be the only one. I feel like there's got to be.
Name one.
Grindr.
Okay, but that is a hookup ad.
So okay, but it's still technically a social.
That is not social media.
It is a social media. I mean.
Okay, but Tinder also sounds.
Tinder, not really. I mean, it's more about like
a little bit.
Not as much as Grindr. I mean, come on.
Okay, but those are dating apps. Like, there's inherently something romantic.
You're right. X.com.
Not sexual.
X.com literally sounds like, okay, Grindr is not romantic, but whatever. It can't, I mean, depends how you're using it.
Yeah. All right. I think we're gonna finally go.
Yeah, goodbye.
So thanks for making it to the end.
Thank you.
Also,
so
are you all right?
Am I all right?
If you made it this far.
Oh.
No, if you made it this far, are you all right?
They're not all right. They're horrible. They're down.
Are you good in the head?
They're horrible. They're horrible in the head.
So, what's your next video? We're gonna be back on track.
Hell yeah, we're gonna be back on track.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you for tuning in, and please continue to tune in, or else we will never upload again.
If this gets 0 views, we're ending the podcast. And that's a promise.
He's gonna say that actually might be true.
It better not. It might happen, but it better not.
That'd be so sad. Anyway, please watch. Please subscribe. Please like.
Please like.
Please comment if you made it this far.
Comment if you made it this far. Also, just comment, maybe. Yeah, sure.
Audio listeners, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Goodbye.